I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Courtside Soundoff podcast. Once again, I'm Josh and Angel. As always, welcome by the one and only man of the hour, always sour, never sweet, hater of the hour, Angel Ortega. Lots of stuff to talk about.
Main host of the hater hour.
Main host of the hater hour, Angel Ortega. A lot of stuff to hit this week. UFC was in Azerbaijan. That was an event that happened. Actually, just a couple good fights on there. We also have UFC 317 going down this Saturday night. UFC 317 fight week. Massive fight in the main event there. International Fight Week, Las Vegas, Nevada. Jake Paul apparently fights this week, allegedly. If it's happening and nobody's talking about it, isn't happening. I don't know. I haven't really seen anybody talking about it. So
that's this weekend already? Allegedly?
There you go. Yeah. I mean, actually, the 28th, I believe.
The promo went they promoted it pretty hard initially, and then they kind of veered off. I felt like the promotion didn't stay as strong as it once was.
Yeah. I also just think, and we'll say this in the preview later, I think people are just kind of done with him, and for good reason, we're kind of at a point where it's like we're so far past the point of this making any sense. Like, if you're not going to actually, I guess Chavez Chavez isn't a step up. I mean, he already beat Anderson Silva, so whatever, we'll talk about it. It's just a pointless fight. Nobody wants to see it.
I mean, you're not wrong. We'll see.
Yeah. People want to see, though? People want to see UFC 317, and if you want, you can throw some money down at UFC 317. Follow that link down below to our friends over at BetMGM and get up to $1,500 in bonus bets paid back. So if you do not hit on your first bet with them, contact 1-800-GAMBLER if you're having any issues. But if not, you want to have some fun with us, put some money down, follow the link down below. As always, we also have our sponsors, Rogue Energy and ELYXR. Rogue Energy keeps me filled up, whether I'm at home, whether I'm at the gym, or I'm doing this job. To get me to the finish line, they can help you get there as well. With code Soundoff at checkout, code Soundoff for 10% of all their amazing products. ELYXR are going to get you really high with their products. Once again, code Soundoff when you spell the brand's name, all caps at checkout for 10% off ELYXR.com products. Well, Angel, I don't want to say we're going to skip past this card because there is a lot to say about it. Particularly in the main event, but I think it's definitely be a slow, kind of a shorter recap to kind of bust into that UFC 317 pay-per-view. Nonetheless, UFC was in Azerbaijan over the weekend in Baku at the Baku Crystal Hall. One of the cooler arenas I feel like we've had in a minute. I appreciate some good architecture. I thought that was pretty cool, the arena and the setup on Saturday night. In that main event, though, straight up dominance. Khalil Rountree dominating Jamahal Hill on the feet, dropping him several times en route to a unanimous decision win. 49-46, one judge, and then 50-45s across the board. He dominated. The fight wasn't very close. I mean, Khalil just put on a masterclass, man. What did you think of that fight?
I mean, it ended up being a fucking blowout. I didn't think it was going to be like that. I thought Khalil would be the winner coming into this week when we were going to be, talking, reviewing or post review or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Or recap. Dude, what the fuck? I can't believe there was a portion of our community that thought, I mean, look, it's fighting. Anything could happen. But to me, there was nothing that led me to think that Jamahal Hill would come out of this fight victorious. We had a guy who was surging, who was who gave a good performance against the guy who knocked the fuck out of the other guy. On top of that, this, Jamahal himself coming, we mentioned it last week, dealing with injuries, dealing with stuff outside the cage, obviously having two finished losses at 205. And, at these weight classes, it seems like this, when guys have wars or take that damage in these upper classes, it tends to wear them down quite a bit. And granted, he didn't get knocked down in this one, but he did get knocked down, which isn't good, but hey, it happens, part of the fight game. I mean, Khalil just was patient, man. He clinical, stuck to his guns, fought how he wanted to fight, did not let Jamal, how should I word this, ever find himself. Let him do what he wanted to do. Never wanted to play into his game. Which even to the point, even after the fight, Jamal's like, why didn't you engage me? It's like, brother, what? I'm not gonna go into these massive, I'm not gonna get into these boxing exchanges with you when you have the kind of power that could put me out.
Yeah. Well, and for me, coming into this fight, it wasn't I necessarily thought Jamahal Hill was bad, and I kind of made fun of him admittedly when we were talking about the fight off air because we were talking about kind of like people predicting this fight and kind of. I don't think Jamahal Hill is bad, but I do think the context is this: Jamahal Hill, what is his best win? And what is his best run? It was that 4-fight run from 2021 to 2023 when he beat Jimmy Crute, who at the time we thought was a really great prospect. Admittedly, kind of here in 2025, we kind of see, okay, not as good as we thought he was going to be. Johnny Walker, a gatekeeper, is what it is. Top 15, top 10, someone like that.
Decisively at this point.
Exactly. Thiago Santos, at that point, very much on the decline. And then Glover Teixeira in his final fight on 3 weeks' notice, who had just lost to Ilia Topuria. With that being the context, do you think that's a top 5 light heavyweight today? Maybe.
With how weak the division is, with the lack of and even then I feel like the really high level guys, it's maybe like 2 or 3 in this division.
Yeah.
2 or 3, like genuinely. I hate to say it, but like the guys are gonna that you'll remember maybe down the line as really great and not even like just entertaining. I mean, dude, it's very food. It's gonna be the Uncle Ilia. It's gonna be the Polygon. It's gonna be the Years. Like those are gonna be the guys you're looking back and being like, dude, that guy was part of this fucking division.
Yeah. Well, and maybe he is. Maybe he is. Let's be fair. Let's say maybe he is. Do you think that same guy would be top 5 after back-to-back back-to-back knockouts and also 2 leg injuries, including an Achilles tear? The answer is going to be no. And I'm not shaming Jamahal Hill, but he's now 34 years old. He lost 2 fights hitting in his run, both by knockout. He had Achilles tear, and this fight was originally supposed to happen in Kansas City. He had a miscellaneous, they didn't say what the injury was, but leg injury. So he's had leg injuries. He's had knockouts back. It was a lot for Jamahal Hill to walk into this fight, to travel halfway across the globe to Azerbaijan and
to top it off, right?
And fight a dog in Khalil Rountree. So it's not that I'm trying to shit on him, but I was very impressed by Khalil Rountree. I thought he looked great out there. They only credited him with 1 knockdown. I thought there was another one.
There was another. There was
in the 4th, I want to say, that they didn't credit him with. But the UFC like that, unless you're like down on the ground for like 10 seconds. Apparently, it's not a knockdown anymore. So yeah, kind of weird, but. Look, great stuff from Khalil. Dominant, great win. And now we're kind of at a point where, like, looking across the division, he's now number 4. Who do you have in front of him? Carlos Ulberg, Yuri Prochazka, and Alex Pereira. I would love to see any of those fights. Obviously, you're probably going to see Alex Magomed rematching at some point in the future. But Yuri, currently unbooked.
I think Yuri should wait, man. I think he should let whatever happens between Uncle Ilia and Paulson's going to happen play out. He's right there in a position where maybe things could work out and he could be next in line for a title fight. I think since the UFC isn't looking to push Ulberg right now, run Ulberg Rountree.
Yeah, I don't hate that. Run
at all. Ulberg Rountree because I don't think they're going to run Ulberg Prochazka. So you might as well run Ulberg Rountree. Give both those guys some activity. They're going to be probably shelved a little bit there waiting. Be like, hey, honestly, guys, down the line, this is kind of the fight we're looking at. We can book a date far out. You guys can get your camps ready. And obviously, we don't even have a date for Poatan on Kalaev yet. So.
Yeah, and they are kind of slow rolling that rematch for whatever reason. My assumption is that there's some sort of pay dispute. There's some sort of an issue with trying to book Alex. Just basing that off of his his tweet, which wasn't him apparently.
Also, I'm guessing like venue and all that. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into this shit, man. Contracts is very lucrative.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. As far as Khalil Rountree though, I do agree with you. I think a Carl Solberg fight probably makes the most sense.
Except for Ulberg.
But if you also, I'd be lying if I said that, hey man, Yuri, if you're trying to fight, if you're trying to get a fight while the guys are kind of sitting out at the top, I wouldn't hate a Khalil Yuri fight, man. I think that's the one to make, but
I mean they could run.
That's a big if Yuri wants to fight and kind of risk a potential.
You could run Yuri Ulberg too. I mean, I don't think necessarily people would want that as much, but I think Ulberg Rountree is a far more interesting matchup personally right now.
Fair enough. I mean, either way.
Just because if Ulberg gets through that or he does some stuff, it's kind of like, okay, finally he gets the breakthrough win. I mean, some people might get triggered by it because they're like, well, we felt like Rountree could have got like a bigger fight. But hey, like, we also take into consideration, like, everybody in the division needs movement, man. And I don't think necessarily they have a lot of options for what they want to do for Ulberg. And I think realistically, Rountree, Ulberg as a matchup makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, you're not wrong, and especially at that point, I mean, the winner would probably definitely be in line for a title shot. So
that's what I'd say. It'd be it'd be unquestioned for Ulberg, and then for Rountree, it's like, well, fuck, he earned it back.
Yeah, he did. And also, if Ankalaev beats Alex hypothetically in a rematch, boom. I mean, we haven't seen Khalil Magomed go at it either. So
that's
fresh matchup either way. So. Should be fun, man. Fun times in light heavyweight division. Hopefully, fingers crossed, and can get that fight
at the top, man. I will say at the top, fuck, dude. Maybe even looking past 5, it's looking rough.
Looking past 5, it's like who's hot right now. I mean, Jongmin Yang and Dominic Reyes. That's it.
Yeah, you're not even wrong. I mean, those are the guys of
And
interest.
maybe if we would be really, really fair, Osmont.
Oh yeah,
Osmont's got,
he's got 1,000%.
Juice,
They need to get him going though.
Yeah,
he needs to fight a second time.
I feel like saying he has some juice though. Like he's winning a lot of fights. I just feel like he's not talked about as much.
No, but in pockets, I think the hardcores recognize his skill set, and also on top of that, he needs to fight more than once a year. And,
that's true.
And granted, we don't know all the factors to that, but we need it.
Yeah,
hopefully, he can get a second one this year at some point.
Yeah. Also on the main card, Rafael Vazeev outpointing Ignacio Bahamondes, 30-27 across the board. Angel, my friend. Good stuff, man. He outpointed him on the feet. He mixed in the takedowns. Looked good. What'd you think?
He was a veteran. He did what he had to do out there. I mean, there's nothing you can hate about that. I picked Bahamondes next week, just kind of hoping that we would get some new blood. I thought maybe he'd be able to create some wild highlight. I think he had good moments, though.
Yeah.
I genuinely think that even though despite he lost that fight, at least for him, for his individual growth as a fighter, he didn't get beat up. He didn't get knocked out, but he got to taste, okay, this is what the top's at. And granted, he was fighting a guy who's been doing this shit longer for him. Literally the head coach, one of the head striking coaches at Tiger Muay Thai is in Shev's corner. Like, this is the kind of quality you're getting in there. And he put himself out there, like, and he was, and he was critical of his performance too, which I think is, like I said, he's intelligent, self-aware. He knows what he needs to work on. He's 27, 28. Like, there's plenty of time. This fight was kind of like, hey, let's see if we can get someone young into the mix. Let's get him up there, who's getting highlights, getting bonuses. And unfortunately, it didn't go in his direction. But inevitably, I don't think it was bad for either guy, and also gave an opportunity for Vazeev to get back on the winning column and let get some activity and let the progression, let the division progress, and inevitably and in an indirect way, helping the youth kind of learn something here.
Yeah, man. And for Bahamondes, I don't think he looked bad. It was just a step up, and he caught the wrong guy on the wrong night. Vazeev, who really needed a win, too. I think maybe if he's fighting Vazeev of 2022, maybe he catches him. Maybe Vazeev isn't mixing in the grappling in this way and kind of like out-veteraining him, honestly.
True bet moves out here.
Yeah, he needed to win 3 losses in a row, dealing with injuries. It sounds crazy, but it's true. He had not won in nearly 3 years. Last time was a win over RDA in July of 2022. So for him to go out there and get that win was absolutely massive.
I hope we see him again this year.
Yeah, I'm fingers crossed. I mean, he's already on 2 fights, So, got you.
I saw the dog looking. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, got you. Yeah, they hate each other. Fun fact, they hate each other. She's not bad with all dogs, but for whatever reason, that dog, number one op. Anyways, number one op. Yeah, rest of the card, man. Curtis Blades. Let's talk about this one. This was controversial. Defeating Razan Kuniev. Split decision. Curtis Blades keeping his ranking. We kind of saw, though, Razan Kuniev, I mean,
he's game.
He's definitely game. I mean, it wasn't like the most thrilling fight in the world, but I mean, hey,
almost got away there at the end for Blades, though.
Yeah, well, and I know a lot of people thought Kuniev won. If you look at the MMA decisions on this one, 60.5% of fans thought that Kuniev deserved the nod, 29-28. So
Blades dealing with an injury too. We found out he got injured. Got injured in the fight, or had an injury coming into it.
Yeah, correct. And look, I mean, I think this is not the best version of Curtis Blades. I still think Curtis has something to offer in this heavyweight division. I think he's the clearly best tier 2 guy. Like, I don't think he'll win a title at any point, but of the guys that are in that like tier, it's like, okay, Tom Aspinall champion, he's tier number 1. I guess you could put John Jones there because let's be honest, he's not going to retire.
You're in Ngannou's,
guys like that. Then you have tier 2. I think of Blades. I think of Volkov. I think of Gunn.
And Blades is like up there, like the leader of that with the Volkov.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, maybe Volkov's. I'd like to see them run back that fight at one point. I think Volkov might pass him. If you're asking me, we'll talk about this later.
I mean, Volkov beat Cyril Gahn.
He did. I mean, we'll talk about this later. But I mean, if there's one man who's a title shot right now, it's not Cyril Gahn. So that's all I'm gonna say. Rest of the card, man. How about Maitek Orolbai defeating Tawfiq Musafayev? Great submission.
He caught him, man. He caught him. I mean, he went for it. Like, he intended for that to happen, but he did catch him here. Hard.
He did. Great stuff there, man. Sucks for Tawfiq, but he'll be back. He's still
he's an entertainment guy. Like, he's I wouldn't say do or die, but he's willing to engage in fight. He's not necessarily looking to manage a fight and just win it like that.
Exactly. And this is a great booking. So I mean, we'll see what he does in the future. Very fun guy.
He's on the older end though. I think it's kind of the downside. I don't think we're gonna get as much out of him as we would want.
I would agree with you there. Nazim Sadikov defeating Nicholas Mata.
Fight of the year.
Yeah, fantastic fight, dude.
Fight of the year. Both getting a bonus.
Yeah, you love to see it, man. You love to see them getting to 50K. And I saw, I think it was a video of Nazim in the background in the locker room. It's either him or Nicholas Mata.
I think it's back at the hotel, bro.
Yeah, at the back of the hotel. Excuse me, where they found out he's getting to 50K, and it's like really does change your life.
Wait, I thought they gave him 100,000.
100,000?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right, because they gave them both. Okay, you're right. You're right.
Which I mean,
misremembered.
Yeah. For Mata,
they only got fight of the night. Performance of the night's crazy.
Yeah, but even for Mata, man, who didn't even dude, there got lit up and put himself out there.
Yeah.
That's a nice little reward, even despite the loss.
Yeah, good stuff though. Good stuff from Dana. Muhammad Niov defeating Bogdan Grad to open up the card. Final 145. Man, just eating it on this prediction. Oban Elliott. I think
I even called you out for that.
You were like, I don't know about that. I think this is actually a pretty good book, and I was like, I don't know, man. I think Oban could probably fight like a lower top 15 guy. I was wrong.
I was like,
Oban Elliott was apparently not. I mean, he's still only 27. He'll be back, but I mean,
it's one fight. But then to get
he got outpointed pretty cleanly.
To get gapped like that hard. I mean, and especially to an extent by some people's eyes, like a completely unknown Korean fighter, and
and here's the thing: is I thought if he could lose this fight maybe, but get caught.
Also taking into account
close fight,
those Asian countries have lacked that kind of development in the wrestling, and to get on that was kind of that's a good performance out of a Korean fighter that we don't get like that on the ground very regularly. I mean, maybe in the jiu-jitsu game, judo world. But that,
I mean, he got lapped. He got lapped out there. That was, of all the ways for the fight to go, that was shocking.
Man, you don't know how much this next fight pisses me off.
Park Jun-young might be the greatest fighter of all time.
The Iron Turtle
Ismail Nurdev by unanimous decision. Obviously dealing with the brutal illegal knee in the second round. Angel.
This is why we should allow knees to grounded opponents.
Well, you know what? I actually completely agree with you. But they're illegal. They are illegal right now. So shout out Park Jun-young, and he got blasted. I'm talking fucking blasted,
dude. And it was setting up to be really great. But I mean, it's still set up for a great comeback win. Which he wasn't even a comeback at that point with the fucking 2-point deduction.
No.
And he went for it. He was still trying to finish the fight. So credit to Park. He's one guy though that I'm if he had a little bit more of anything, that's a ranked guy. And he could break into the rankings, I think, at some point, be bottom 15. But I'm not looking at him top 10, top 8 ever, really.
I'm not either. But I do think this current run he's on a really good run. I think he's won something 5 of his last 6. But even better than that. He's won 6 of his last 7. The only loss coming to Anjumi.
But I was say, if he had a little bit of anything else, a little bit more athleticism, maybe a little bit more power on the hands, a little bit more.
We're talking a top 10 guy.
Yeah, there's some potential there. In he could work with what he has.
Yeah, disappointing that he doesn't have that. But you know what? He's a fun guy. He's a fun guy, and
that's what you need.
Fantastic fight here, man. Love to see it. Daria Sadikova defeating Melissa Mullins. It's a fight that happened. Good for them. Claudia Stiliga defeating Irina Alexeva.
Blew her out of
the water. Apparently, she's not nearly. I mean, they kind of gave her a little bit of hype when she came in, and then Irina has not turned out to be nearly as good as I'd hoped. Tagir Ulanbekov defeating Azmat Maksum.
Controversy here, though. Habib having his back turned while the cards are getting read.
Yeah, interesting.
What were the MMA decisions on that?
The MMA decisions very strongly in favor of Tagir. I thought Tagir won as well.
I thought so too, but there was some self-doubt there.
So, you know what? MMA decisions. So it's actually the very rare fan media split. The media scoring it looks like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Not 9 of 11 scoring it in favor of Tagir Ulanbekov. However, if you look at the fans, 55% of fans thought Maksum won. So
there was some stuff going on here, where people
interesting. I did not see many people calling for Azmat to actually get the dub on fight night. So I'm surprised there. I get it. It was a close fight, but I thought Tagir, took 2 rounds. So kind of surprised there. Nonetheless, man. Although the 30-27s were crazy. Let's also say that, just to be fair.
Oh yeah.
How about Mo Usman opening up the card? Man,
by the way,
we found Tom Aspinall's opponent, boys.
I led I was on the fucking Muhammad Usman train for this fight, dude. I fucking talked about it last week. I even had money on it. I'm gonna just put that out there. Hamdi didn't look, but by the way, Hamdi started off strong. He didn't look bad.
No.
Mo Usman
the comeback of a lifetime.
He had to come back from behind a little bit. You saw that, by the way, Rashad Evans blasting fucking instructions in the corner, yelling, begging Mo Usman to do things in the cage. And he did. He was doing them, not to, I think, the extent that Rashad wanted. Once again, though, we talked about it last week, and I just want to keep, I want to talk about some of these heavyweights who are in desperate need of it, dude. We said it. I just wish that Mo would just go for it. And even in this fight, you still see him like not like fully go, and even got called out for it on the broadcast a little bit, where they're like, dude, he needs to let it go a little bit here. He needs to just find like loosen up a little bit and just go for it, and be okay with some of these exchanges. Give 2 or 3 and take 1,
Yeah.
And once he did it, it kind of started happening. He started seeing some success, but it took a lot. It took a lot for him to finally get there. Like I said, it bothers me because you see all the physical attributes are there. It's just like the skill set and like the confidence needs to be built upon on where he can just do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. And I also think that he's also a guy that if he would have gotten into MMA 5 years sooner, he'd be the shit. I genuinely think you are seeing small improvements fight to fight with Mo Usman. Even in some of those earlier UFC fights where he was actually winning, like he not who was it that he deaded on the Ultimate Fighter to win the finale? I can't remember.
Zach Paga?
Zach Paga, thank you.
Yeah.
He deaded him. You know what? He did the same shit that we were just mentioning. Like that first round and a half of that fight was him just standing there being static. Same thing in the corner. Do something, He ended up winning with a huge shot. If he can get the activity going, if he has to get into that place where he is willing to kind of, I'll throw 3, I might have to take 1, but I'm okay with that. He has genuinely the athleticism, the speed, the power to be a fucking problem.
And an engine, dude. The cardio, too.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I mean, Hamdi is not a fucking Colby Covington out there. But, I mean, in round 3, Mo Usman coming forward with the pressure, dude. He wanted that shit more. And I was like, you know what? That's kind of a clown fight. It's kind of a joke fight. A lot of people are making fun of him. Or unranked heavyweights opening up a card. But I loved seeing that from Mo Usman. The drive in that late third round.
You should have seen the hype of the house when I was watching that fight, dude.
Yeah, dude, you had money on him, so I get it. Yeah, I mean the hype, dude.
Yeah. The decision was getting read. I was like, "Fuck, dude, you would have thought that I just made like $1 billion."
Yeah, dude. It was literally, it's like whenever Glover won the title. You remember that? The same vibe, dude. Same.
That show was, but it felt so good to call that though. Too.
Yeah, that's also a big part of it too. Yeah. Anyways, man, any remaining thoughts on UFC Azerbaijan?
I mean, I was going to ask you, what do you rate the event after everything that went down? And we didn't even mention the fact that fans left when the main event started happening.
Which is crazy. Yeah.
What's your letterbox grading? I know we don't typically do this for these kind of cards, but
I get it. I'm gonna go. I mean, it's such a mixed bag, dude. It's such a mixed bag. There's the highs were high and the lows were really, really low. I'm gonna go. I don't have to go right in the middle. I'm gonna go 3. 3 out of 5. Yeah.
You were nicer than me this week, dude. I give it a 2.8 or 2.7.
2.7, 2.8. I get that. I'm gonna go a solid. I'm gonna go a 2.9.
By the way,
3 feels wrong, but a high 2.
By the way,
feels right.
This was the longest 12 fight card.
I believe it. Yeah, I believe. We didn't mention this. The decisions, brutal to open up this card.
That's what I'm saying. That's what really held this card back. Like if there was a few more finishes, and like I said, like personally, I don't think everyone's probably a fan of the Rountree. Hill fight. I mean,
I saw people making fun of that. I thought it was actually a pretty good fight.
Dude, I liked the intensity. I liked the intensity to start. I like how technical it was. There was
pockets of inactivity.
There was pockets of inactivity, the pausing, but there was still stuff there that I enjoyed, dude. I just loved how I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen right now.
Yeah. Well, and you saw the big shots come, and it was a really solid fight, man. I'm not gonna say great. It was a really solid fight. I enjoyed seeing the exchanges. There were pockets of inactivity, but I mean that's. If you don't like that, you don't like the UFC in 2025, man. I'm sorry.
Right.
Almost every single fight has that. So, yeah, I mean, I'll go a 2.9, because a 3 feels a little bit too.
Like I said, I'm surprised you were the nicer one this week.
Yeah, I'm not normally, but I thought the card is actually pretty solid. I mean, they had a lot of decisions, but I didn't think a lot of those fights were bad. Like, I genuinely enjoyed the Mo Usman fight. I genuinely did. Mm-hmm. I thought it was not, like, it's unranked heavyweight slot, but I mean, sometimes you want the Taco Bell meal.
And also, you at this point, dude, when you go into these cards, you got to recognize, like, these are 2 unranked fighters. You know what I mean? Yes. Like, know what you're getting. And also, we know some of these guys. We've seen plenty of these gals now throughout randomly on undercards and stuff like that. Like, we know what the fuck we're getting ourselves into going into the week. Do not try to illusion yourself into thinking that it's going to be something else.
Sometimes you have to let yourself enjoy the fights. That's just a thing that I've noticed. You have to let yourself be like, you know what? these guys aren't that good, but I'm gonna enjoy it anyway.
And you never know who's gonna pop off.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, some of the guys that have come through the last few years, I never would imagine being as good as they are. So, fucking, we just talked about him this month. He's a big Mario Bautista. Could you imagine telling somebody that Mario Bautista was gonna fraud check Patchy Mix? You know, like, granted, Patchy Mix I don't think was a fraud, but that was what the thought was online at the time after that fight. Like, there's so many examples you can use of that. So we'll see where these guys go. Maybe Mo Usman will fight Tom Aspinall. Maybe. I'm just saying. Maybe Hamdi will get on the juice and we'll be back to square one. Like, let's go, Hamdi. You know. So I don't know.
Let's go, Hamdi.
Yeah, man. Jesus, I don't know what he's gonna do now, man. That's a guy with no future right now. So we'll see where he goes. But
I mean, just continue to fight.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Like, I had high hopes for him. You know?
Well, dude, he looked hella interesting in his first fight, right?
Yeah, and then
it was like, oh, dude, this guy's like former Olympian or
big dude,
big dude from Egypt, like, oh,
the wrestling, and then just
hairy as fuck, like, and then everything happened.
Yeah, unfortunate. Let them juice.
It's been a very bad 2025 campaign among his return in the Jamahal Parks fight that people didn't think he won, and then this fight, which he could have won, I think, too.
If he just pressed a little bit more.
Yeah.
Especially in that third.
Wrestled more. He didn't really wrestle this fight.
No, he didn't. He doesn't have the pop on the feet either, so I don't know what he was,
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if he doesn't figure something out quick, you're looking at, like, hey, 1FC territory. That's weird. I think he'd be a perfect 1FC.
Oh, dude. Nah, he'd kill it out there.
Yeah, exactly. But let's hope we don't get to that point, Hamdi.
Let's just improve, right?
That's improve. Speaking of improving. How about this card on Saturday night? Dateline, Las Vegas, Nevada, T-Mobile Arena, UFC 317 International Fight Week, headlined by El Matador, Ilia Topuria, the UFC featherweight champion, UFC featherweight great, 16-0, flawless is the record. Max Holloway on the resume, Alexander Volkanovski on the resume, Josh Emmett on the resume, Bryce Mitchell on the resume, Ryan Hall on the resume. Angel, flawless at 28 years old. But now at lightweight, he's stepping up.
So quick, so soon.
So soon, Ilia Topuria is stepping up at lightweight, where he will meet Du Bronx, Charles Oliveira. Will the Oliveira era re-begin? Will it return? Will it restart on Saturday Night, Angel? We had the brief period. He lost the title in October of 2022. I don't care about the scale. He was champion up until that moment. He's kind of had mixed fights since then. He beat Beneil Dariush, knocked out Benny in a round. He lost Arman Tsarukyan to split decision UFC 300, but then he rebounded with a dominant win over Michael Chandler last November. The record's 35-10. He's an all-time great. Can he add one more title to his resume on Saturday night and be the first ever man to defeat Ilia Topuria? What do you think, Angel?
Look, I think it's possible. I think anything's possible when Charles Oliveira's in the fucking cage.
Anything, hey man, you're like we're on our Kevin Garnett type shit. Anything is possible.
I mean, I'm gonna keep it 100. I think he could beat Oliveira.
Yeah.
I think he could finish him on the feet. I think that's harder for sure.
Yeah.
I think he could catch him in a sub because Oliveira is just that fucking guy.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, dude, you got this surging fucking guy who seemingly has no weaknesses, has power in his hands, is good at grappling. And once he gets you behind that black line and he unleashes a 4 or 5 punch combination, you could be gone within seconds. It's hard to not decide with that guy, especially because we see Oliveira get hurt and tagged. And believe me, all those times I picked him, I always thought he could, if he did get hurt against Dustin, if he did get hurt against Geechee, he could surge back. I mean, I did it. Well, admittedly, I did it in the Dustin meeting to begin with. But after the fact, I was like, "Fuck, dude, I have to have faith now. I have to have faith now. I just don't know that if now at 35 years of age, 45 professional bouts, constant activity against literally the freshest to the fresh on the block, if he's going to continue that. I hate to say it, man. I think it's going to be Ilia Topuria, your 155 champion, your 2-weight champ, and new.
You say you hate to see it, and you hate to say it, but like the reality is, like, I don't think either one of us hate Ilia Topuria. I think he's all-time great at this.
He's killing it. He's just killing it at the right time, and he's beating these guys. That's part of the process, dude.
And he just keeps on beating our favorite fighters. And this is, let me say this, not a smart pick. This is not a smart pick. I think it ends on Saturday. I think you have a guy that's stepping up. He did not. He's been talking about moving up for a long time. This is not the fight he expected. He expected Islam Makhachev. That's a completely different experience to fighting Charles Oliveira. I think Charlie Olives is in great shape. I think he looked great against Chandler. I thought he looked good against Arman. I thought he looked good against Benny. Maybe you could attribute that Islam fight to maybe a bad night. I think Ilia can catch him, and I think he's going to. It's just hard for me to see him. And you know what? I'm picking him here, and maybe I'll just keep on picking him until he loses because I did pick Holloway to beat him. But I mean, and it's entirely a heart pick. I just don't think we have not seen him face a 155-pound fighter, and I do think weight classes still do matter. And I think it's a lot to go from fighting guys at 145 to kind of stepping up here on a bit of short notice. I mean, we kind of figured he's probably going to fight International Fight Week, but with the Islam thing, his own vacating of the title, it's a very weird situation here. And if there's one thing I've learned from MMA, it's whenever you have weird situations like this, some fuck shit tends to happen. Fuck, the MMA gods are not nice ones. They're cruel. If you want to see Ilia versus Islam, fuck you. You're going to see Charles Oliveira versus Justin Gaethje 2 or something. Like, that's how the sport works, and that's how it's been going in 2025. Inshallah, and new Charles Do Bronx Oliveira. That's
dude,
all I got to
dude,
say.
If Oliveira wins here, man, like, fuck, dude. I know the 155 GOAT conversation is fuck all over. My person, the GOAT, is always going to be Oliveira at 55, goddamn.
I think if he wins, he has to be the GOAT at 155 at this point. The actual reason why I'm picking him, I think it's a couple of different things, man. I think Ilia, for one, Charles Oliveira, you don't want to get caught behind that black line. He's a guy that pressures a lot himself. And if you're going to push him back, you generally need to have some sort of wrestling. You've kind of seen that in the Islam fight and other fights. Arman as well, going for a lot of takedowns. It's not to say Ilia Topuria doesn't have those takedowns. We haven't seen him show that nearly as much. We haven't seen him show against a guy who's a big 155-pounder in Charles Oliveira either. So if you're going to try and pressure him, you're going to need a little bit more than just the boxing, I think. I think Charles Oliveira can compete in the striking. I think he has fast hands. I think that's not where you want to do it, but I think he can mix it up well. We've seen him do it at championship level for years now, and I think things are lining up. That's all I got to say.
I don't, like, I'm picking on Ilia, and let me clarify this. I don't necessarily, like, some people think this shit should be a blowout, like, fucking Ilia's going to go in there and run through him.
No.
But, dude, I'm just, like, Oliveira has great, like, he can finish the fight in multiple places. I think that's the big thing for him too. Yeah,
well, I think either way, this is going to be a close fight. I'm picking Charles, but it's like I think Charles might win after losing like 3 rounds, getting dropped and pulling some shit out of his ass.
The most demonic scenario for me is like Ilia just goes in there and walks through him.
That would be shocking.
That's like the scariest thought for me because I'm like, if he does that, I'm like, fuck, dude, what's about to happen in this division?
I mean, even looking back at his featherweight run, like he didn't. I mean, he kind of walked through Volkanovski. Volkanovski won round 1.
No.
Like he beat Holloway.
There was adversity before that.
Exactly.
But it was like, it was only until it was time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I wonder if it'll be the same here.
I could be wrong. I don't know. It's just, there's a lot. Charles Oliveira could be a much bigger man on there on fight night. And it's hard for me to see a guy who, we've already seen him fight at 155 previously in his career and they get, murked.
Granted though, that was
very early on, of course.
And it wasn't like he wasn't like, that wasn't like his body. He had prepared it for 55 and like, had the cut that he wanted. I mean, you even look at that fight, you could see a little fluff on him too.
Exactly.
And you look, and we see it Topuria, dude. That guy's like peak fitness all the time, you know?
Exactly. So how much of that is will the weight play a role, and how big is he actually? I honestly don't know those things. So we'll find out. But yeah, it's a homer pick. Fuck it. We're gonna roll Do Bronx. Let's see something happen, man.
It's gonna be like
it's entirely just gut, dude.
No, but I'm saying like this is like the most exciting fight of the year so far, right? In the UFC. Like
I feel pretty confident saying that.
Up until this moment. Now, granted, we still got Jamahal Hill on, like I think that's gonna be like right up there for me.
Yeah.
But by large and by a long shot, this has been like, holy fuck, this is the fight. And I've been telling people who are friends, they're like, hey, what's going on? Like, cause I'll bring up fights and stuff like that, or what are you doing? I was like, oh, I'm watching fights or whatever right now. And they're like, when should I? I'm like, dude, if you can watch this weekend,
that's the one.
Watch this weekend. Watch the main event. Actually, fuck that. Watch the whole main card.
Do you want to know the UFC title fights up until this point, just so we could talk about like, here they are. In case there's any doubt, this is the greatest title fight of the year thus far. Makhachev Moicano, Merab Nurmagomedov. Actually, a good fight.
Good fight, yeah.
Dricus Sean Strickland 2.
Which, I mean, but when the way it played out.
Zhang Weili, Tatiana Suarez. Peja Ankalaev.
Good, but.
Volk Lopez.
That was exciting.
That was a good one. Muhammad Madalena. Shevchenko Faro. Harrison Pena, and then Devashvili O'Malley too.
Yeah, the Ilia Topuria Charles Oliveira blows that shit out of the water.
The only
by
thing
a
that could
mile.
even compete is maybe Merab, Nurmagomedov, and then also Volk versus Diego Lopez.
But even then, like the everything in this fight, the whole storyline on both sides, the countries that are being represented, the cultures that are being brought in, this shit is by far and large the biggest fight of the year so far.
It's a fantastic fight. Fantastic fight.
The fucking quality is insane. The quality and class that will enter that cage will be the highest level of MMA that we've gotten all year.
Yeah, man. I cannot wait. This co-main event though, also excellent. Not as big of a fight, and we've already seen it before, but can the upset happen? And by the way, I did not mention this. The odds of the main event are actually wider than the co-main event. If you want to go to BetMGM, potentially throw some money down, Charles Dubronx Oliveira, a plus 380 underdog, nearly 4-1.
Dude, there's going to be some demonic bets out there with Charles by sub, Charles by KO.
Yeah.
Hey, man, if you want to throw a little small side bet, maybe hedge your bets with some of your guys.
Yeah.
There's some value on some of these underdogs, bro. I think even like right now we're about to talk about KKF and Pantoja. Like, dude, if you want to build a side bet with Pantoja and KKF and both here being the underdogs winning this card, there's some good money to be made there. I'm not necessarily saying it's gonna happen, but if you got a little spare coin and you want to have a little fun, have a little more excitement going into the fights, click that link down below and go to
there we go, baby. There we go. Because the current line from our friends over at BetMGM, Alexander Pantoja, the cannibal, a minus 275 betting favorite. Kai Kara France coming back as a plus 210 underdog for UFC 317's co-main event. These two fought on The Ultimate Fighter November 2016, and
almost
Pantoja,
10 years ago.
Pantoja dominated one by unanimous decision. Here we are, UFC gold on the line. Pantoja famously, in a world in a UFC where I feel like almost every division is tossing the belt around like a hot potato. I feel like that's every division. If you go ahead and take a look at the rankings, it's like, all right, let's take a look. Flyweight, Pantoja been champion for over 2 years now, going on 3. You have the Merab, who won the title last year. Volk, who just won it back. Islam is still the champion at 155 for whatever reason, but that'll change on Saturday, obviously. Jack Della Maddalena just won the belt at 170. Dricus has the champion 185. That's it was tossed around until he won it. Magomed, obviously, just beat Alex Bahia. And then Tom Aspinall, finally the champion at heavyweight after all that time. Belts have been tossed around a lot. Alexander Pantoja is arguably the greatest champion in the UFC today. You're talking 3 flyweight defenses, but it's not really the defenses. It's the names he's beaten. Because he beat everybody. Exactly. Because he beat a lot of people before getting the title shot and before he even became champion to begin with. Obviously, beat Brandon Moreno 3 fucking times. Brandon Royval twice. He's already beaten Kai Kara France, but we're running it back anyway. Angel, give me your thoughts on this co-main event.
Before we get into this, and I got to glaze Pantoja here, as the youth would say it. Alexander Pantoja should be significantly higher on the pound-for-pound rankings.
Yeah.
The disrespect that the flyweight division gets is fucking insane. And people want to talk about level. People want to talk about this, that, and the other. Bro, fucking look at the accomplishments. Look at what the fuck the guy's done. Look at the technique. Look at the fucking class. Look at the quality. This guy should be higher on the rankings. Looking at the pound-for-pound list, I don't have it pulled up right now. I saw it a few days ago. I'm like, dude, this is fucking diabolical. This is fucking diabolical. As a sport, we got to change that. But nevertheless, to kind of preview the fight itself, dude, Pantoja's game is fuck. We know what he has. He has class all over the place. He can finish the fight on the ground. He can finish the fight on the feet. He can go to the distance. The one thing, though, and we got to say this time and time again, dude, he can only fight the way he's fighting so long before it catches up to him. It's just the truth. We're talking about a guy with, like, what is that, 34 professional fights at this point, going into his 35th. Granted, Kai himself having a lot as well. A lot of losses early on in his career, way before the UFC. Look, I think KKF has some class here. I think he's dangerous. I wouldn't be surprised if he pulled the upset. I'm debating on this one a lot. I think without a doubt, Pantoja should be your go-to here. I'm gonna go don't blink here. I'm not gonna lie. I could see it happening. Maybe he could catch him on the feet. Those guys out there, the Kiwis, he's been killing it. City Kickboxing has a lot of quality. It kind of seems like they were just we were waiting on Kai to kind of come through and have his moment, because he was kind of always in the position to be up there with the Izzy's, the Volks, and those were gonna be your three kings there in the division, right? All from City Kickboxing, and it didn't happen. Maybe Kai needed a little bit more time. He's a little bit younger. He's been killing it lately. He has fast hands. He has knockout power. I think he can maybe finally get it done. I think maybe he needed some maturity. The tough fight was so long ago. I don't think he's phased by that. I don't think that bothers him. I could be totally wrong here, but I just know that at some point this egg's gonna crack.
Interesting. I like that. Actually. Yeah, man. I mean, look, Kai France, I'm glad you brought that up. Whenever he first came to the UFC, it kind of was seemed that he was being talked about in that sphere of like, okay, this guy is coming from the same gym. He's a future champion. He's got all these accolades. He's got the wins of the regional scene. He's clearly a physically great guy. And then, like, he had the losses. You know, he lost Moreno. He lost to Royval. He lost Moreno whenever he fought for the interim title. You know, he lost to Albazi.
But he did great before he got finished with the body kick.
That people forget that he was up. I mean, I remember having him up, I think, 2-0 on my card potentially. But regardless, he was doing very well. He lost to Albazi though, and then he came back though, and he murked Steve Erceg in a fight where it was like, damn, in Australia, he needed that one bad. He got it done, and now he's here. I think I agree with you that at a certain point, the egg is going to crack. Pantoja is 35 years old. A lot of fights, and not just a lot of fights, a lot of fucking wars. You know, we're not talking about like, he's not doing the Colby Covington, man. He's not holding you against the fence. He's not out there trying to like, he's not doing a Hamdi Al-Awab. He's not throwing 3 strikes around. Like he's, you know what I mean? He's going balls to the wall, trying to finish you, and he's taking a lot of damage in the process. You think back to that. I always think of that, the trilogy with Moreno, which is just particularly brutal. I just don't think it's going to crack here, man. I think Kai France hits really, really hard, but I think Pantoja, man, I don't think he's going to take him. I think he's going to play a similar role to the Asakura fight. Asakura, that's a fight where Pantoja 5 years ago swangs and bangs and puts on a fight of the year with Kai Asakura. I truly believe that. The Alexander Pantoja, the Cannibal of 2025, went in there and just, I guess it would have been late 2024, December, but he went in there and just, he mixed in a little bit of the striking, but he largely dominated him in the grappling.
You don't think Craig Jones and Eugene Behrman are going to have a incredibly great
I'm sure they're going to have a great game plan, but there's only so much you can do against a guy who I think is way better than you on the mat.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a gap there.
So I think,
but just, I'm curious to see. Maybe they won't let it get there.
Maybe they won't. And there's also a possibility that Pantoja will try and do, because he did that kind of similar in the Royval rematch, where he kind of busted him up on the feet and then he ended up trying to take him down. He got gassed going for takedowns late in the fight, so it opened up an opportunity for Royval to go ahead and capture. He couldn't get it done. Kai France a better finisher than Brandon Royval though, so you know, we'll see where it goes if it gets a little bit dicey late, but I'm going to pick Pantoja to retain the goal.
The fight's going to be a banger. It's not getting the love it deserves.
He never does.
Well, the flyweight division never does, dude.
Yeah. A couple of years from now, I really hope fans like look back like, damn, dude, we really.
Well, you know what the conversation is going to be like, man, was Pantoja better than DJ? Which is like, oh, come on, guys.
Yeah, why do we have to rank everybody, dude? What is the internet's obsession with rankings?
Well, maybe there's people who think Pantoja is better than DJ now.
Yeah, which is crazy. And I love Pantoja, bro.
Hot take. I think DJ can beat Pantoja today.
You know what?
Today, motherfucker. Today.
Maybe not today, as in like because he's retired, but whenever he retired, like last year, whenever he's still training and yada yada yada. I mean, he didn't stop training, but you know what I mean? Like, he kind of had that athlete's mindset. I would pick him. I would pick DJ to beat him. Like, the DJ of last year.
I picked DJ even this year, bro. You give him a fight camp 6 months?
Yeah.
You're telling me that motherfucker can't develop a plan to beat that guy?
He might. I mean, I'm sure the game plan is going to be on point. You know, it's everything else. Nonetheless, though, dude, flyweights, we're eating good with the flyweight division on Saturday night. Because I brought him up earlier. I mentioned him because he fought one of these guys. Brandon Royval. Actually, I think Brandon Royval fought both of them. But nonetheless, Brandon Royval taking on Joshua Van. Joshua Van, short notice, actually won a fight earlier this month. UFC 316.
I mean, we were talking about Kevin Holland being DTF Fighter of the Year.
It's Joshua fucking Van.
Especially if he wins, I think we might even have to give that award out early.
23 years old out of Myanmar. Won 4 in a row. Viewed as one of the UFC's best prospects. I feel very comfortable saying that.
He's the best under 25 fighter in the UFC. No fucking doubt.
Not a fucking doubt.
He might be the best 25-year-old out of any MMA or under 25 out of any MMA promotion.
And here's the thing.
Does ESPN still even release those lists anymore?
I saw they did one last year. I don't know if they did one this year.
Hopefully they continue that, man. Because if this guy's not number one, then I don't know who you could have up there. Maybe Ditchua? Is she under 25? I think she's over.
I think she's 25 now.
25. I mean, there can't be that
26,
many.
yeah.
There can't be that many options, but even then, gotta give the guy his flowers and got a tall task here.
Damn straight, because man, look, he's taking on the Raw Dog. 32 years old. The record's 17-7, but I don't think that really tells the full story. You're talking about a guy that was kind of mixed starting out his MMA run, but over the last year or two, he's locked the fuck in, become arguably the greatest flyweight on the planet, not named Alexander Pantoja. Beating Moreno, so on and so forth, upset Tatsuro Tora, who is kind of viewed as like the next big prospect. Well, now here we go again. He's facing another prospect. This time, short notice for Joshua Van. I don't think anybody is super, I think a lot of people expected Tatsuro Tora to kind of like go through Roy Val and kind of become the next guy. I don't think people are necessarily expecting Joshua Van to go through him here, but he is a minus 120 betting favorite, which is mind-boggling for a guy who's fought earlier this month.
Is that our boys BetMGM?
That is our friends BetMGM.
I would say I looked at something else, and I think some other sport books have it the other way, but it's near.
It's very close.
It's very close.
Yeah, it's basically a pick. Minus 120 for our boy Joshua Van, plus 100 for Kai.
I would say via Tapology, which I'm looking at right now, and I don't know where they get their odds. Let me clarify that. They have Royval at a minus 120 and a Joshua Van at plus 100.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. It is. It's very, very close. And I'll say that as much as I'm a fan of Joshua Van, this feels like a little bit too much too soon.
Granted, it's his moment to capitalize, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if there's dude, this is what you dream for. This is what you dream of. The opportunity to go in there and completely upset the apple cart. And we're talking about, he's the best guy under 25. Dude, he could be a champion under 25. Like, he could be champion by the end of the year if he wins his fight.
Yeah.
Which is fucking insane to think about. And I think he might. I really think he might win this fight. I think at the very least, round one's going to be hell for Brandon Royval.
I mean, we got to talk about this though. Like any young fighter who's doing great and finishing fights in the way they want to finish fights, there's still a lot of unanswered questions in the grappling department. Can he last 5 rounds?
Yeah.
I can't remember what fight it was, but there was definitely a fight where he did slow down. It might have been the Charles Johnson fight.
Charles Johnson, they got finished
and ended up getting finished. But don't let him take that. Don't let that take away from any of the quality he has shown. I mean, the guy is still very good, and his game is fucked to be here. But he's fighting a Royval who's gas wise at 125 fucking untouchable. Probably has the best gas tank, has the most output, not a lot of power, decent enough on the ground to not get submitted or caught. Yeah. So it's a lot. The threat, I think the threat of being finished on the feet is not there necessarily for Van, but definitely like having to deal with a zombie. And on top of that, Royval has a great fucking chin.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're talking about a guy that, like, I brought it up earlier, that Pantoja fight. Pantoja gassed himself out, beating the shit out of Brandon Royval.
Also, Van is one of the smaller, it's funny to say, but smaller flyweights. Even body type-wise, he's not super physically filled out.
There's a reason why he can make this cut on 3 weeks. You know
yeah.
I mean? Like, even though he just cut. So, there's a reason for that.
Also, he's fighting one of the tallest flyweights he could fight, too, to top it off. One of the longest flyweights he could fight. I mean,
seasoned guy, former title challenger.
But it's all the things you want to see if you could take that step over, but it feels like it's a lot quicker than what it should be. In my opinion, I felt like they should have always slow rolled Joshua Van just because there were some questions there still. Mm-hmm. But shit, if he comes out here and does what he needs to do, who the fuck am I, man? Kill it. And that's awesome. That's why we live for this sport.
Damn straight, man. And he could have his John Jones moment, man. He could have his John Jones moment. Think about back. It's obviously, granted, this is not a title fight, but dude, he's 23. He could be. Nobody's talked about him. I mean, he could be. How old was John who won the belt exactly?
22, 23, somewhere around there.
See if I can find the exact how old he was, because I feel like I think Joshua Van may have already passed it, but he'll be number 2 if he potentially wins.
By like a few months, something like that.
Yeah, he was 23. How old at 23 though? That's the question.
If you find this quickly, I'll be impressed.
Yeah, I know.
See if I can find it now. I'm
don't do that. Don't do that.
You don't do that. You don't want to have a conversation live on air right now.
Don't do that.
Wait. I might. This fucker went to Chat GPT. Probably. Piece of shit.
He was 23 years old, but I can't find the months. God damn it.
I might have it.
Well, I mean, I think
I'll
just look up.
23 months.
No,
23 months.
No,
get bitch made on air.
No, fuck. I was just gonna look up. Why didn't I just look up UFC 128 and just do the math in my head? Why didn't I just do that? He was born in July. What was wrong with me? Okay, So how many months?
23, 8 months.
23 and 8 months. Joshua Van is, I want to say, he'll turn 24 in October. So
He'd be like second if he.
Yeah, he'd be second. We're running out of time, so
Still an accomplishment.
I mean, the only way he'd be able to do it would be like, what if Kai Car France falls out of the co-main event?
And then
like,
Rival fucking misses weight.
And they're like, Joshua Van, you want to step up?
Do you think he could weigh in at 125 on the dot?
I bet he could.
Yeah.
No, jokes aside, look, I'm actually picking Brandon Royval. It was all kind of a pointless conversation, but I mean, I do think that if you are Joshua Van, this is the fights you need, and win or lose, great learning experience.
Probably one of the hardest fights to bet on because, like, it's like, do you want to go with the youth that's surging and is finishing guys, or you want to go with the experienced vet who has high output, has these physical attributes that are going to be like, they're going to be the first time he's kind of dealing with a lot of these.
Yeah.
I think for him, thankfully, it's 3 rounds, not 5 rounds. That'd be a lot to deal with.
That would be. So good, honestly. Like, I'd kind of like to see Joshua Van get the 5-round experience, but that's kind of the only thing you're not getting here. But you're getting a guy bigger than you, has the full camp, championship experience, like 5-round experience, so on and so forth. You're gonna get to learn a lot about Joshua Van.
And his face quality.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna get to see a lot out of him. So let's see what happens. Nonetheless, moving one down, Beneil Dariush, Hanada Moicano, 2 vets. They were supposed to run this one in January, didn't happen. Both guys, I mean, I would say Moicano's struggling. He's actually red hot heading into that Islam fight.
But it's like we knew it was
going to happen, and then Benny's lost 2 in a row and also spent out like a year and a half because he had some brain issues. So
Moicano wants money.
Moicano wants money. I mean, it's that simple. I'm going to pick Hanada Moicano here. I mean, one guy is, I mean, even considering the loss to Islam, I thought he did about as well as you could expect on 1 day's notice. Like Islam's not the kind of Habib kind of went 5 rounds with Al Quinta back in the day. I like Quinta, but that was because like he'd never gone 5 rounds before, and he kind of wanted to get that experience. Like he mauled him for all 5 rounds. Didn't really go for any subs either. So that was a case where Islam just wanted to get him out of there. I respect Hanada Moicano. I still think he has a lot to actually offer in his top 10. I think he has some fun fights he could put on. I think Beneil Dariush, much as I love the guy, he got fucked in that big run he had where they didn't give him a title shot. They just made him keep on fighting guys until he lost, and he finally did. So I feel bad for him, but yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm assuming you're in line with that one.
Yeah.
Opening up the card, man. Oh, Peyton Talbot. Frank Ocean's Peyton Talbot taking on Felipe Lima, 14-1, 27 years young. Another great prospect in his own right, coming off a winner of Miles Johns in December. Love this fight, man. It's a prospect fight. I would have liked to see Peyton get a little bit of a get back after having a loss to Jaime Barcelos, but Ione also showing kind of like, oh, damn, like I'm legit, even though I'm 7,000 years old with that win over Cody earlier this month. So what do you make about this fight opening up the main card?
I mean, it's young guy versus young guy, man. I mean, that's the only thing I kind of bothers me a little bit because they're both guys. They're like both really good prospects. Like they both have quality. They're guys you want to build up. I don't think this fight has to happen right now. But hey, man, it'll be a banger. I think they had something there with Talbot. He was getting attention. He was an interesting guy. Is still an interesting guy. Mm-hmm. And now they throw him in the mix against some other young surging dude as well. And it's kind of like, well, I mean, it is what it is. It's part of the game, man.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Hate to make a pick here, but I'm gonna roll with Peyton. Very hesitantly. Felipe Lima is legit, and I don't like his fight for Peyton, but I still think he has a lot to offer. And I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, he's gonna go out there, he's gonna get wrecked, he's gonna get fraud checked again. I don't know, man. One loss doesn't break a kid.
He's the underdog, but I think that's also because of, once again, people are kind of like, oh, well, time to go the other way.
Yeah, Jaime Barcelos is fucking legit though. Like it is possible for guys to lose fights and then come back.
Yeah, and also, like you said, I mean, like Barcelos is just like a solid ass bet.
Solid bet. So
God, dude, this is such a hard one to pick. I wish, like I said, I wish this wasn't on the main card. I wish it was Hermanson Rodriguez in the slots. I was supposed to pick that.
Yeah, right.
But I'm gonna go Peyton Talbot hesitantly, but there is part of me that wonders what Felipe Lima could do here.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I think Felipe Lima could win this fight. I'm just gonna roll with our boy though. I don't think one loss breaks a kid, and I think a lot of people that we're shitting on him, and I think they just want him to be bad. So that's what I've seen a lot of money hitting to Lima in that direction. I feel like that's probably part of it as well. But nonetheless, I'll be honest with you guys. This event falls off a fucking cliff after. There's some good fights here.
There's pockets
of interest, but largely for an international fight week card, it's a little bit.
It should have been stacked to the tits.
Should have been stacked to the tits. These prelims headlined by Jack Hermanson, Gregory Rodriguez. I like that. It's a good fight.
By the way, long time since we've seen Hermanson. February of last year, 2024. Over a year layoff going into this fight.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And he beat Joe Pyfer before that. Yeah. 37 years old, Joe Pyfer. That was a huge win. Game handed him his first UFC loss. So he's kind of facing it. I wouldn't say Gary Rodriguez is a young guy because he's really not. But a guy that's still another guy on the rise. Granted, he did lose to Canada, but still kind of on the rise. Jack Hermanson, man, kind of in a position where he kind of hand another younger guy a loss. So we'll see. Hyder Emil, Jose Delgado. I like Hyder Emil. Fun guy, very entertaining.
Just a solid fight.
Yeah. He's interesting, man, because he's 35. He's a 35-year-old prospect. You don't get those.
But he's grinding out the fights, man. But at the same time, I also think he has a ceiling, though. I hate to say it.
Oh, I fully agree with you. I fully agree. But I don't know if we'll see it here against Jose Delgado. Viviane Araújo taking on Tracy Cortez. Love Tracy Cortez here. Viviane Araújo. At the same time, though, she's been pretty back and forth in her own right. Both of these ladies could use a big win to kind of elevate themselves at 125. We'll see. Terrence McKinney taking on Vasyl Borshev.
I mean, that's just someone's getting killed.
Somebody's going to get murdered. Friend of the show, Terrence McKinney, has never made it into the third round. So, I mean, we're still...
and we might not stop yet.
Yeah, no, I don't expect that we will.
It will get stopped, I guess, maybe. That's probably the better way to put it.
Look, I don't want to say... I mean, we talk about predictions. We make betting stuff and stuff. So I feel pretty comfortable saying this. I feel like Borshev might just get fucked up out there pretty quickly. I mean, you're talking about a guy that got annihilated by Chase Hooper on the feet at times. So, not annihilated, but he kind of getting touched up. So, I mean, he got dominated by Tom Nolan. I mean, Terrence McKinney, I love the kid, though. So, let's see what he can do. Jonathan Deniz taking on Alvin Hines. Shout out Jonathan Deniz, man. Went from, possibly fighting at one point Derek Lewis early on his UFC run to now being the curtain jerker, one of the curtain jerkers on a pay-per-view against Alvin Hines. We'll see how he does. He's coming off a loss to Marcin Tybura, where Marcin Tybura fucking battered him. Marcin Tybura, biggest highlight of his UFC career, even though he's been in UFC for like my entire life. I hate this one. Nico Price, Jacoby Smith. Not because, I actually like Jacoby Smith a lot, but I mean, you really got to do my boy like this.
It's not the right fight for Nico Price.
You got to do my boy like this at 35 years old. He's got kids, you monsters.
I feel like if he loses here, they cut him, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, 3 losses in his last 4, and a lot of he got knocked out by Nico Price. They got knocked out by Phil Rowe. He got knocked out by Robbie Lawler. He got dominated by Themba.
And he's 35 on going 36 this year.
There's
just not things in favor of him. I hate to say it because the guy was a fun, entertaining dude. It's just he needed to get a little bit a few more wins in there to stick around.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And then opening up the card is Christopher Ewart taking on Jackson McVeigh, at 185.
Which was this way? It was last minute because Cedric Dumas had to pull out. Which I mean, you can only wonder there, right?
Yeah. Shout out Jackson McVeigh out of St. Louis, Missouri native. So. See what he does. Excited to see what he does here. Both guys undefeated, very young in their careers, so not a lot to really say.
I must say we did lose some big names on this card too. We were supposed to have Paulo Costa, Roman Kopylov originally on this. Obviously, we had Manel Kape and Royval, which was supposed to be the original matchup, which was still bad. And don't get me wrong, the Van one's still good too, but it would have been nice to have that on this card. And Justin Taffa was supposed to fade Deniz on here.
Yeah, that's correct. Actually, I completely forgot to mention that. Yeah. Would have been a much better fight. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, man, we have a few things to talk about news-wise before we go ahead and duck out of here. And we brought it up earlier, so there's no point in beating around the bush. But the streak is over. The streak is over. The terrorists did not win. America is still around. Tom Aspinall is your UFC heavyweight champion of the world.
He is now undisputed.
After
what a hard ass thing to say, right?
Almost 2 years of being an interim champion. He won the title obviously in November of 2023. It is now almost July of 2025. Finally, John Jones relinquishing the title, retiring from mixed martial arts at the age of 37. The record's impeccable. And by impeccable, there's a lot you can say about it. And by incredible resume and incredible career, just controversy after controversy and fucking up into nearly your 40s. Let's talk about it because this is the retirement of arguably the greatest of all time. I'm somebody I've been very clear. I'm not the biggest personal fan of John Jones, but I'll give him his flowers, and I'll always be honest and say that light heavyweight run is one of the greatest things I've ever seen in the history of the sport. I came in right whenever it was happening, early on in the run, and getting to see John Jones fight Rashad Evans, seeing the fight with Gus, seeing the first one, not the one where they moved the event. The fights at DC, the first one before he failed the drug test. The incredible fight with Dominic Reyes, where he ultimately won a robbery. The fight with Thiago Santos, ready to beat a one-legged Thiago Santos. Or how about no, I mean, I could go all day. Because the reality is that it's about time. I'm not going to say anything good here. The fact that they wasted my time, they wasted your time, they wasted the fans' time, they wasted Tom Aspinall's time, and we knew it was going to happen. Everybody knew, and we deluded ourselves into thinking it wasn't going to happen. So, yeah, it's about damn time. That's my thoughts. Angel, what is your thoughts on John Jones retiring? We haven't talked about it since it happened.
I hated this prolonged process.
Yeah.
I've several times I'd mentioned, like, dang, we should already be here. This fight should have done happened. We should have had these matchups. These things should have happened. And I feel bad that we wasted the career of, like, this super interesting heavyweight in Tom Aspinall. A portion of it, at least, not all of it. There's still a lot to be given, but that guy could. And I was telling Josh this before the show started. I was like, Tom Aspinall could easily have 2 or 3 more fights under his belt right now.
Yeah,
you know, who knows if those are victories or not? But fuck, man, it makes you wonder, it makes you curious, you know. And the fact that this was the clearest avoidance of a fight ever is frustrating too. Which, hey, that's fine if he didn't want to fight. I mean, from the get go, hey, just fucking get out of here, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Don't waste our time making us think that it might happen. And like I told Josh, Tom Aspinall delivered the hardest quote of all time, saying, "I will retire John Jones without ever having to fight John Jones."
Yeah.
And holy shit, did he fucking do that?
Yeah. You're talking about a guy who he won that fight against a 42-year-old Steve Miocic in November. It is now 7 months later, after allegedly the UFC going out of their way. And look, I am somebody I have complained about the UFC various times over on the history of the show, talking about big fights that didn't come together and so on and so forth. Allegedly, according to every source involved, including Ariel Helwani, some of the most reputable guys in the sport, they offered John Jones what he asked for. They offered him the money he requested. He said yes, and then 2 days later, he went back and said no, and then he formally called Dana and retired on Saturday night. I don't know what you can say about a guy like that. I mean, I don't know what you could say. I mean, I've never seen a champion do this in my entire time watching. If John Jones were to retire in November, I'd think, okay, you ducked Tom Aspinall, but at least we could finally move on. You just had to take 7 more months. You just had to. And everybody knew that the fight wasn't going to happen. I mean, the Tom Aspinall quote is hard, but it's hard because, let me rephrase, it was hard, like, in the moment, too, because we all knew he was right. We knew he was right, and people deluded themselves. Oh, it's just, no, dude, like, John Jones is just talking. He's just posturing. He's just trying to get more money, bro. You don't get it. You don't get it, man. Nah, he's just like that. He's just willing to ruin his legacy. That's who John Jones is. And so now we have to lead in.
It doesn't even end. There's still more.
We have to lead into the second part of this, where it's like, okay, John Jones, the retirement news comes out. Not even a full day later. The news drops that, you know what John Jones was doing over the weekend?
Allegedly.
Well, that's what I was about to say. We don't know. But the Albuquerque PD think that he drove a car while drunk and high on mushrooms with a woman naked in the car. He hit something, got out, ran, allegedly, this is what the Albuquerque PD think, called the woman on the phone and threatened to kill her as well as the cop. And I'm not saying that it was John Jones, but I'm saying that this woman must have been real prepared to set up John Jones then, man. That's all I'm going to say. Because that's definitely him on the phone. That's somebody who sounds mysteriously like John Jones, dude. Yeah, I mean, it's depressing. I don't know what to say about it. Yeah, I mean, any closing thoughts, Angel? Any closing thoughts? We're finally ready to move on. Tom Aspinall apparently going to fight possibly in October, which it's terrible they're making him wait, but they've already booked up for the year. So what do you think, man?
I don't know, dude. This shit's just all fucked. I don't know what the right direction to do. I don't know what we should do. I'm over this shit. I'm over this fucking news. I'm done with this John Jones shit, Josh. I'm done with this
We're
shit.
done with that shit. We are done with that shit. This is the one last thing I'm going to add. Derek Brunson tweeted out this morning, literally like 20 minutes ago. He
I was
said,
just reading this.
John Jones and I used to hang out about every day when he was in town from 2011 to 2014. One night we went out and I said to him, bro, why are you doing all this? Let's just hang out with the ladies and have fun. The extra stuff isn't needed. They're already here with us. He looked at me and said, I don't need a dad. I need a friend. This is the last time I hung out. I couldn't sit back and watch. I have to be honest with my friends. So John Jones, that 2011, how old would he be? He'd been early 20s, 23, 24. He's now 37 and nothing has changed. So there you go. Let's move on because we don't have a whole lot else to talk about, but we'll run from one guy to another who is just, both these guys have problems. From John Jones to Jake Paul. We're just gonna make our official predictions. Jake Paul, Julio Chavez Jr. We talked about this event before. We also have shout out Zurdo Ramirez taking on Uniel Dotios in the co-main event. Looking like they might set up Zurdo Ramirez versus Jake Paul, which like holy shit. If you want to murder, that's how it's gonna happen. I mean that's but I guess at a certain point you do have to cash out, right? Like, and Canelo's not gonna fight him. You know, a lot of these big names aren't gonna fight him. I mean, he may fight. The rumors is Gervonta Davis, so I don't know. But yeah, I mean that'd be an exhibition anyway, probably. So nonetheless, give me your thoughts, Angel. Do you think Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who has famously had a lot of in and out of rehab, is about 40 pounds heavier than his prime, coming off a controversial win over Uriah Hall last year, nearly 40 years old, can he pull off the upset and beat Jake Paul?
It's crazy even that you said that last part of that line. Could he? Could he pull the upset?
I'm not going to ask, will he? Could he?
The fact that you even have to say it's an upset is insane. You know what I mean?
It is. I mean,
that's the reality.
Minus 700 favorite, Jake Paul.
That's the reality we live in. Look, I mean, dude, if I'm him and I'm his father and I'm his family, I'm like, dude, you got to go out there like you're fighting for a world fucking title.
I'll give him credit. He does look like he's take training seriously. Junior and senior. Senior and junior famously not really had the greatest relationship, but they've been training with each other for this one. Dad's been around him a lot.
He needed it.
He needed that motivation, and it would be, look, if Chavez wins, it'd be the greatest redemption story of all time, would it not?
Well, I think the thing is he would make several pockets of the world very happy if he won.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. What I'm saying is, like, this is a guy that's, I don't think I've seen, like, getting into boxing, like, probably, like, I remember when I started, like, taking it as diehard as I did MMA, because I was, like, a casual boxing fan, and then I got into MMA, became a diehard of MMA, and then became a diehard of boxing.
I've stepped in and out of boxing over the years now.
Exactly. But whenever I started taking it super seriously and became a diehard, I'm like, why do they fucking hate this guy? Like, people have a hatred for Chavez Jr., unlike anybody I've ever seen. Probably because, like, he does have the talent, he's just wasted. Like, you could see, like,
to top it off, right?
When he knocked out Andy Lee, who was really good at the time, and he was like, just still not even giving a fuck. Like, he was just had that natural ability.
And then had that hell of a fight with Sergio Martinez.
Exactly. So then he just ended up doing a lot of drugs, not really taking the fight seriously. So I get where people are coming from, but man, what a redemptive arc would it be? I mean, him to finally beat the guy that, like, everybody, you know, in the boxing world is kind of just sick of, you know. And
look, I mean, he fucking can. I'm not even saying he could. He can. That's the thing. He can do it. He can do it.
I don't think he will do it, but
and that's the issue, right?
You know.
He's older. He doesn't typically fight at this weight class. We have the concerns of the lack of, you know, the focus being there at times. The consistency. You got a young guy who's invested all his time into this, has pretty much dropped everything else in his life just to compete, and use the best technology, best trainers he can to be in this position that he is now. Granted, it slingshot himself into it because of his name and all that, but fuck, man, he still had to win those fights. Yeah. He still had to make the weight. He still had to do it. You know, were they always the hardest? No, not necessarily. Were they always the easiest? Yes and no. Mainly more yes than no.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But this is still a tall task. Let's not take away from what's presented in front of him. Like, I don't expect him to walk over him. If he walks over him, that is a insane accomplishment. Like, I will have to give him credit if he walks over. If he beats him and it's close, like, hopefully he shows some boxing growth. I think that's the one thing for Jake. Like, we want to see him develop and have more growth outside of, like, he's looking to land just that right hand. Like, let's see that fucking jab in there, man. Let's see that movement. Like, make people kind of like you in some capacity. And if you lose here, you're gonna make people be happy that you lost.
If you're Jake and you lose here, I mean, you got to go to the KSI land. You got to take another step back.
That's what you got to do. After this, that's the issue, right? Like if he loses, it's like fuck, dude, I gotta go fight JJ now.
Yeah, exactly. At that point, that's the one thing that would make sense. Yeah, man. I mean, look, the reality is that Jake Paul is not a good boxer. He's not very skilled. I mean, that's just not. I'm not sure to be mean here, but he has shown the development from fight to fight, and he did beat.
But for the level that he talks at and wants to be at, it's not matching.
Oh no! I mean, I feel like he clearly progressed a lot, but it's been hard to tell how good he actually is because he's been fighting these same guys who are MMA fighters or they're washed to the heavens boxers.
It's crazy, but like I said, out of all the fights, this is the only one that I'm kind of like. I think
interesting.
Like that I'm like, this is the more likely one that I think he'll lose out of all of them because I picked him to win every other fight. This is the first one where I'm picking him, and I'm like, genuinely, I think. Well, no, like I think there's a high chance he loses.
You picked him to beat Tommy? I can't remember that.
Yeah, I picked him to beat Tommy.
Yeah. All right, fair enough.
And I mean, and you could even argue he won that.
Yeah. I wouldn't agree, but I see where you're coming from. Yeah,
I mean, dude, but like it wasn't the like, and he knocked him down. Like, dude, you even if that is a victory for Tommy, dude, are you proud that you got knocked down by fucking Jake Paul? Like, come on.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, man, he was tuning him up before that too, man. If you would have just won that last round cleanly, you would have been whatever. Besides the point.
That's what I'm saying. Like, come on, dude. Like,
no, I'm not saying it was like a walkover performance. Both guys looked like shit, but I mean, I thought Tommy largely got the better of him. Probably won like 6 of 8 rounds, but it wasn't like the most impressive thing. Nonetheless, what I was going to close out with is just saying, like, look, I think Chavez, could he pull something off? Yeah, maybe. Especially if he has a good game plan and he comes in actual tier top shape and he's loaded to the the tits on juice.
He needs to fight like a gritty vet, man.
Yeah, he needs to, honestly, you got to get in there and just do that Mexican style, get in close, brawl with him, because nobody's ever done that with Jake. I guarantee nobody's getting in Jake's face, putting up against the ropes and fucking training. I've seen his training videos. You know what I mean? Like, so
no, dude, he's so good. He's knocking down his sparring partner.
Dude, he's knocking out all of them with the same right hand, dude. He flashes the jab and throws the overhand right every time. There's no way to prevent that.
But he has to shake his glove first so they know they go down.
T Wood, where you at? Anyways, man, yeah. So I'm gonna take Jake Paul, but I mean, I'm
trying to get a third fight.
Oh my god, dude. I hope Woodley made some good money, man. That's all I'm gonna say. I hope Woodley's made some good money.
That fucking highlight is gonna be immortalized. Like, pretty much overlooked his MMA career.
He was crazy too. It's like, and it's such a butterfly effect. If he rocked Jake in that third round of their first fight, and if he just threw any punches, he might have gotten him out of there. And instead, he just stared at him for the last 40 seconds of the round. And it's like, dude, like, actually, I think he would have won if they counted that as a knockdown, because Jake like fell back against the ropes, and that's technically supposed to be a knockdown.
Really?
Yeah, because if you use the ropes to hold yourself up, and he had like his hand, like his arm, like over the rope or whatever the fuck. But yeah, I mean, what a butterfly effect, man! Shout out Tyron Woodley. He'll beat your ass, man. That's all I gotta say. He still the funniest thing ever. Never beat anybody's ass.
He'll also eat your girl's boom boom, dude.
Anyways,
that was a crazy thing that happened too on the internet.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't talk about it. There's a quick one. Deontay Wilder fighting this weekend.
Holy shit!
Fighting in Wichita.
Didn't even know that.
He's fighting in Wichita, dude.
The same weekend as the PFL. Oh, that was last.
That was last weekend, which we'll talk about in a minute. Yeah. Hoping the best for the Bonds bomber, man. I'm really hoping he goes out there and puts on a good show, because if he gets one, man, you're right back in the heavyweight division, man. Even though he's fighting a guy who's kind of like a walkover, but we'll see. Last week
he's fighting in Wichita, Kansas.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. And not even on like a big show.
That's all you need to know, right?
I want it. Don't quote me on this. I think he's fighting on Black Prime. Remember Black Prime? They're the ones that they promoted a Bud fight on pay-per-view.
No.
They had an Adrian Broner fight, I think.
No.
Oh my god. Yeah. Whatever. Then they're like.
Was it that trolley ass Adrian Broner fight that he had with Blair Cobbs?
I think that was it. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Same company.
Dude,
same
by the way,
company.
that thing was a
they're like the new Triller, basically. Shout out Triller. I mean,
Blair Flair Cobbs. That guy was a
Blair the Flair. Yeah, dude. Oh my god, I love, dude. It's so funny.
I love this sport.
Anyways, we're gonna close out real quickly because we got to talk about this PFL 6, Wichita, Kansas. Tush brought it up. Not a whole lot to actually say, but man, Kevin Lee. This is kind of a wider conversation about Ali Abdelaziz. I feel like we could have, but we probably won't talk about it. But Kevin Lee losing to Ghazi Rabadov, first round knockout. brutal. I mean, we got a few more PFL news. Like, there were other stuff to come out of this card. Like, oh, we know that,
Bro, just say it, bro. Dog came out like a few days later. He's like basically saying, I got to reevaluate everything.
Yeah, somebody said to him, like, on Twitter, like, Ali Abdelaziz set you up, right? And he's like, I know. And then, like, 2 days later, he was like, somebody posted about it. He was like, oh, this is bullshit, fake news. I didn't say that. And it's like, Kevin Lee, your tweet is still up. Like, I can see it right now, big man. So yeah, I don't know what to say. It sucks. I love Kevin Lee, and I still think he's a guy that maybe has some stuff to offer, but this is a terrible fight. It's a terrible fight on short notice, for the love of God. And yeah, I don't know what to say about it. I mean, Angel, give me your thoughts on that. And anything else you want to talk about?
I mean, that was a fight you could call from a mile away, and it wasn't favorable. It's saddening to see this. I don't know what you could do for Kevin Lee at this point. I think you've done all you can. I feel like the fights that he's gotten haven't been the right ones at the right time. Even the Renat Fragdinov one, like, dude, that was not the move at the time for him to do. Like, that was not the guy he should have been fighting to come back into UFC.
Yeah.
He just saw some crazy shit.
A new John Jones tweet has hit the timeline. Angel. This one's actually already been deleted, but John Jones appeared to implicate himself as the voice on the phone who threatened police during the immediate aftermath of an alleged hit and run. He said, quote, whoever was on the phone with me at first, his timestamp is different. By the time I was acting aggressive on the phone, it's a completely different conversation. I was already in my paranoid and offensive state. End quote.
John's attorney.
What a great way to end the podcast. Life. Dude, yeah, what a great way to end the podcast. John's attorney is just like, dude, I mean, he's got to be like, he literally has to be Saul Goodman up in that bitch. I don't know how John Jones has not already gone to jail for like.
He said he has to be Saul Goodman.
Yeah, dude. It's just ridiculous. So, anyways, John Jones is insane. He is crashing out in real time on the timeline. So I'm sure as soon as we get off,
this is Connor-esque.
Oh yeah, this is like prime Connor. Putting the voicemails on the fucking voice.
Dude, I missed those. Can I be honest? There were some of them were funny.
I still have a few of them saved to my phone as like react things, like just to drop that in a chat with them with somebody, like that sort of thing. Very funny, man. Very funny. Nonetheless, anything else you want to talk about before we go ahead and dump out of here?
No, man. Good PFL card this weekend. Really, I think it's like actually pretty decently stacked in my opinion. So definitely check that out. Yeah. Excited to come back next week. Thank you for everybody as always. Dude, what a fucking time.
What a time to be alive. I'm at Josh Soundoff on Twitter. He's at Angel Ortega _01 at Courtside Sound for all things related to the show. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.